Hi guys, today we're back with another colour spotlight and today we're looking at French Ochre. So this is a Daniel Smith colour. It is one of the mainstays on my palette. I love this colour. It's a really gorgeous ochre. It is transparent and just really beautiful. But before we get into it, I just want to show you a couple of items that I got this week. And I'm going to use some of these in the video. So I got a little haul from Jackson's. This is actually a Coloro colour, and I got this as part of, I'm making a special palette for my sister. Her birthday's at the end of May, so I've been collecting all these handmade paints. A lot of them are from nibs, pens and ink. You can see that gorgeous Sal, I think, or Saul. It's a beautiful colour there, and yeah, I'm just it started out as like a galaxy palette, and it's just kind of grown, so it's a really gorgeous palette. And then I also got a couple of these art graph things which I've been looking at for years, and it's just kind of never been the right time, or you know, there was something else more pressing, but I wanted to try these while we're kind of all at home and everything. I thought these would be good to have a look at. So you can see there, that is the Taylor's chalk, and it's the dark brown, and we'll look at these in another video. But what's in here? Let's see. Oh, okay, so I got a couple of Schminker colours. So I got a lemon yellow because I need it for the channel, and so we can do some more colour mixing and things. And then I got a Perylene green as well because I've never tried, I need like a really dark green for my palette, and I wanted to try that one, so we'll see how that goes. And then this is also art graph, and it's the little tin of like charcoal, like so it's kind of basically like a lead pencil in a tin, so you can just use it and paint with it. So I thought that would be interesting, and I really wanted to try this for a while, and actually it's really nice, so I'm glad of that. Okay, so we are going to do most of the stuff in this watercolor book today, and so I just leave the front cover there on so that you can see which book it is if you want to look at that yourselves. And I'm just looking here through, and I'm kind of looking for French ochre because when I think about it, like I know I use it all the time, but if I think about it, I have no idea what I use it for. So I'm kind of having a look through, and then I realized that most of the little palettes that I create all have French ochre in them, and I kind of show you examples in a minute. So I'm just kind of showing you through here, and you can see some of the examples of French ochre in these kind of little color schemes that I create. And what I'm going to do now is just use the French ochre and actually go back on this page and just create some extra petals really quickly and show you how just even using the color in kind of an unexpected way can you know, just change or deepen a page. So this video is a little bit off kind of our regular format where I just kind of go straight into the colour, because I think of the nature of this sort of French ochre, and I wanted you to kind of see the different ways that you can use it and how to think about it. So it's not just a brown or kind of a colour that you can, it's a very versatile colour. So I just wanted to kind of start it off and show kind of examples of how versatile it can be and how you can use it in all paintings and all different kinds of ways. So this is actually one of my favourite looks when it blends with the water-soluble lead pencil. So that's why I got the art graph. And you can see I've just done a few examples here, and that's the art graph with the French ochre at the top. And it gives that kind of patina to the stonework on old buildings. So I really love to use it for that. And then I have a few mixes there, and we will get into all the mixes and the similarities and everything like that in a moment. So I'm just kind of showing you as well. I love to use it in the middle of the flowers, and we will go into that as well. So you don't always have to use the, this. I'm just kind of showing you different examples here, but yeah, these are some of the ways I like to use it. And I also want to show you different colors here, so we'll get into this so that if one suits you better, you've got a good range there to choose from. Okay, so our regular formatting begins, and we're going to start off by drawing out. I don't think I've actually drawn one of these fully on these videos before, so I usually just start it with 4 little dots that I try and align, and then just kind of roughly sketch those together. So this isn't something where I measure, and definitely you can measure. I just do this so that it's quick and easy, and I know that it will get done. And so once that's done, we just draw the top box. So I basically just draw a box in the top third of this rectangle, and then I leave the top sort of, I divide that, I guess, again, 2/3 and 1/3 at the bottom there. And then, so there's just a lot of thirds and 2/3 here all divided up. Then I start with the name of the paint and then the company that makes it. So then we start with the pigments. This is a single pigment, PY43, which is a pigment yellow. And then we have the transparency. This is transparent, so the circle's open, and it's a 5-star light fastness, so it's going to stay put. And it is non-staining, so you can lift it easily. It's granulating, so it's going to create a really nice texture on your page or on your painting. And then we're going to look at the actual painting portion of this colour swatch. So the first thing we do is we lay down the mass tone. So that's just the colour in its full strength. We just pop that in a little bar up the top there. And then once that's dry, we can go back and add a layer of glazing, and we can also try some lifting to see how easily it lifts, and it should lift, and it does. It lifts really easily. So we'll just continue on with the swatch, and then we will come back to this. So while I've still got my brush loaded with pigment, I start the sort of gradient wash, and then I dip it in the water to wash it out a little bit, and just go back in to see how that moves on the page and everything like that. So next I lay down some water, and then I get some colour and just drop it on the side and see So it's a dispersion test just to see how well it disperses. So some colours just completely will take up all the water there, and some don't, so don't move very far at all. So now we've gone back, so this top part's dry, and I'm just using the third of the bar there, and I've just glazed over the top of it. That just means adding another layer of paint once the other layer's dry. So you can see here I'm just gently trying to lift some of that paint there, and it is lifting quite easily. You can almost get the paper back to complete white, which is what you expect from a non-staining colour. So now we're going to start some colour comparisons here. So I've done the French ochre in the middle there, and now I'm doing the Verona gold ochre. So you can see this gold ochre is a little bit more gold. It's still a beautiful transparent colour, so it's similar in that way, but I just don't tend to use it as much because I often use the ochre with the lemon yellow, so I'm already getting the yellow undertones from that. And then on the right I did the graphite, which is also very similar. It's just got a little bit more of the rock-like undertones, so it's got some sort of dark brown that separates out. Then underneath it I did the Italian deep ochre, and so it's a little bit deeper as well. And then next to it I've done the next to that in the right hand bottom corner is the duochrome desert something, maybe duochrome desert bronze, which is like a you can see there it's the kind of shimmering one. And then to the left on the bottom row I did the yellow iron oxide. So I really like the graphite and the yellow iron oxide because they separate out and they already have some of that colour there that you want for buildings. But I just still tend to go for the French ochre, and I'm not sure. But so here I'm just cleaning out the palette so that we can start some mixing. So here I've just laid down some of this art graph, the tin of the art graph that I showed you at the beginning, and I just put some down full strength, and then I've mixed a little bit, and then I'm going to mix it again just to try that in different varying ratios of the art graph charcoal and the French ochre. So here I'm doing a little bit of a colour comparison with, this is a Faber-Castell watercolor aquarelle. So it's a graphite lead pencil that is water soluble, so you can use it with water. And I love to use this with the French ochre to create the, the really beautiful stone carvings on the old buildings. So I'm just kind of showing you this here, and also for me I'm just kind of looking at them side by side and seeing how they differ or if they're very similar. And I really like the way the art graph goes down on paper. It's really so easy to use, and it re-wets so easily. It's really nice. So you may already know, but I love to mix pinks with browns. So this is Ochre Rose with the French ochre, and then I think we're going to use Shell Pink with the French ochre, and that makes a really gorgeous skin tone. So I really want to mix it with some shimmers, some golds and silvers, and kind of see how that works. So I've just pulled out my kind of handmade watercolors palette, and I think that we first mix it with a bronze here, and then I mix it with one of my favourite nibs pens and inks, and it's Sylvia. Okay, so I think that the next thing we do is mix it with some lemon yellow. I think I'm showing you how I do the middle of a flower here. So this is how I really like to do the middle of flowers. So I put down the lemon yellow in kind of a crescent shape, and not in one fluid motion. So you're trying to pick up the highlights and inflections of the flower there, or the pollen. And then I like to get the French ochre and actually lay that down on top, so it creates this kind of layered effect. And that's how I like to get, without a lot of mixing and everything, you're getting those layers, you're getting the highlights. It's just a really quick and simple way to create a lot of impact. And so what I'm doing here is just kind of laying down a flower really quickly and showing you a couple of ways that I like to use it. And the first is just by tipping a little bit into the edge there while it's still wet, so just to give the flower a little bit more realistic look, and to create some nice shading. And then you can see while the petals are still wet, so this is probably a little bit too soon, but it took me a couple of days to film this, actually stopping and starting and just sort of getting in bits and pieces where I could. So I just didn't have time to kind of wait, so I just started there. But you can pick it up. You get what I'm saying here. While the flower is still a little bit wet, you do the middle, and then it bleeds into it a little bit, and it creates really nice blooms and effects. So you can see these are pretty much dry now, and you can see the colours there really nicely. That's a pretty accurate showing of the colour there. And yeah, I really like all the mixes and the different ways that you can use this. And then I'm also showing you here that you can use it for shadows as well. So what I'm doing here is creating sort of some foliage, more the impression of foliage and like the shadows that leaves create. And so I'm just using it very lightly to do that. And of course you can drop in other colours at this stage. But I'm just kind of trying to show you a wide range of all the different ways that I use these. And I had to actually think about this for a while, because at first thought I couldn't really think of all the ways that I like to use it. I just know I use it a lot. So this video actually did take me a little while to actually think about what to show you for mixing as well. I thought for comparison's sake I would put the Naples yellow reddish as well down there in the middle, and that kind of is a pretty similar colour, but it is very opaque. And then I just created a little colour palette there. So what I'm going to do now is sketch a spoon and then paint it. But before we paint it, because I did the sketch and then I had to stop, and then I came back, and then I thought it would be nice to do kind of a little colour triad of the colours that we've done so far. So it's the smalt blue, the azalea pink, and the French ochre. So I just wanted to do this before I forgot, so it's kind of inserted in the middle of the painting portion. So it's not your regular primary triad, but it is interesting to try out different triads and see the different combinations that you can get from them. So you can see the smalt and the azalea give you a beautiful cobalt violet. The smalt and the French ochre give a really nice grey, and then the other two give a sort of a melon colour. So quite a pretty triad there. And then here we are just painting with these two brushes. So it's a Da Vinci 2.0 and a Skoda Reserva number 1. And so I should also say I cut this painting a little bit short because I wasn't too happy. I wasn't too sure how I would finish it off, so I kind of did some of it off camera, but I did show you the important parts, kind of how I wanted to, the things I wanted to show. But and then I just kind of continued layering it in that way. But I feel like by the end of it, it looked more like tarnished silver than like it was just too dark. So I really want to go back and try this again. And for this part, I should say I'm using the French ochre, indigo, and sedona, to mix and create a sort of this grey colour for the silver. And then I'm just going back in and with the detail brush and kind of starting to add some detail here. So I didn't actually, I think one of the things is I need to paint one of these off a reference photo. I kind of just made this up, and yeah, I'm not sure. I need to work on silver reflections, but and how dark to do that and stuff. But this is one of my favorite parts of the painting, and this is a really simple technique. It's to create shadows. So you can see here that I have no color on my brush. I'm wetting, I've got a wet brush and I'm just wetting the paper here. So I'm doing it on the side where I want the shadow to be, and from the spoon edge I am just wetting the paper out about half an inch to an inch to kind of let the paint flow. So I'm not going to put the paint in that whole area. I'm just going to put it in around the spoon and then let it flow as much as it wants to. So, and that creates a really soft, nice shadow. And you can see here for this part, so where the top of the spoon meets the handle, I don't do it exactly up close to the spoon there. I don't touch it right up to the spoon. I leave a little bit of white space to help the shadow look like the spoon's lifting up there. And you can also see how I'm not painting right to the edge of the water there. I'm just letting the paint bleed out as much as it wants to create a soft shadow. And so then I'm going back in with some hematite, and I am going closer to the edge at the top, and then I will come out again and round it out so that it isn't touching the spoon there. So I think basically from here I just keep going in and just letting the layer dry, and then going in and adding more shading, more depth, and now that I'm looking at it, I actually think that I did the light on the wrong side for the shadow, and I do that quite a lot. So you know, I am showing you what I'm learning. I'm not, you know, by any means that great of an artist, but I'm just letting you know what, you know, I know, and kind of learning along with you. The thing I really like about doing these is that I tend to try and pick something that I want to practice, because I don't often have time to do the videos and to do personal practice. So yeah, in the videos I kind of have to use that as practice time as well. So I really do enjoy doing these. So, but I hope you can bear with me and overlook the things I'm still trying to work out. But also, if you have any preferences for the next colour, for the colour spotlight, I was thinking maybe a green, maybe fuchsite. I don't know, let me know what you think. Maybe shell pink or potter's pink, or, you know, another colour entirely. So I am open to looking at what you're interested in. And yeah, I've got another video for this channel filmed. I have to voice over it, and then I have a couple of things I'm working on as well for the other channel. So hopefully I can get all that done pretty soon and get that up, and I will see you then.